Hey everyone, thanks for joining us for a slightly belated edition by 2 minutes of the DMZ America Podcast with editorial cartoonist Ted Rall, that's me coming from the left, and
I'm editorial cartoonist Scott Stantis coming to you from the right, or what used to be the right. What kind of had the right? I had a run-in recently, and I'd love your take on this, Ted, and also our viewers and listeners. I draw weekly for Michael Smerconish, who has a weekly show on CNN. He has a newsletter that has a bazillion subscribers. He's on Sirius XM, and he decided that he had read an article about the demise of editorial cartooning, thought he'd do something about it. So he's hired four of us to draw for him. The conceit of, or the concept for the Smerconish show is that it's balanced, right? It has articles about the left, articles about the right, somewhere in the middle. He has mingles. He brings people from both all stripes together, and it's a noble idea. I'm not sure there's that much of a middle left, but part of it is, as I said, he hires four of us to cartoon for him, and I was brought on as the conservative, and as I introduce myself here regularly as the conservative of DMZ America Podcast. Here's the problem. I just got a note recently saying, from Michael Smerconish, saying, can you give me a name? I'd like to add another a conservative cartoonist to the lineup. And I wrote back, I said, if by conservative you mean on the Trump train, then, I'm not that guy, but here's some names of cartoonists who are. Mm-hmm. And he never wrote back. I thought I was being very mature, and because here's the point, folks. Being a conservative today means something very different than it meant years ago when I started drawing cartoons. We're going to show some throwback cartoons in a little bit. One of them is from 1981 when I started my career. I was all of 22 years old and on staff at the Orange County Register in Orange County, California. Conservative meant, Reagan conservative. That is, looking at America as an arbiter and a policeman on the international stage, but also free markets, free minds, getting the size of government down, and that's not what's happening under this administration. And that's where a lot of us conservatives are very upset. I mean, there's some issues that are fine. Things like what they're doing with immigration, closing down the border. I thought the Biden administration's approach to the pants down approach, if you will, of border was obviously not effective or working or particularly practical or smart. So now we're going, of course, the exact opposite, and the numbers have shown that it's been a success as far as successes go. I happen to believe in a small L liberal immigration policy, that is, secure your borders, make sure bad people aren't coming through, make sure you know who is coming through. Anyway, that's another podcast, and you've heard me spew that. But it's weird, Ted, and all of you out there, is that I still consider myself a conservative. We introduce this show every time. Ted's on the left, I'm on the right. But I can't embrace a lot of the tactics and a lot of the policies of the current administration because I find them invasive and very much fly in the face of what my traditional and longstanding conservative views have been. So, when Ted talks about the left, how the progressives, there really aren't, and there are some, but there really aren't that many progressives. They're certainly not welcome in the Republican Party. And I'm contrary.
You mean in the Democratic Party?
Democratic Party, I'm sorry. Yes. Or the Republican Party. Yes. No party at all. Maybe more welcome. But on the right, those of us who are lean libertarian, those of us, the libertarian wing of the Republican Party, we're not welcome at all anymore. And as I just told you the story about what happened, and nothing bad happened, I'm still drawing for Michael Smerconish, but just that not being viewed as a real conservative. And
this is not the first time this has happened. I mean, you and I pitched a left versus right talk radio show to a company that shall not be named. And they said, Ted, you're appropriately left, but Scott, we're not so sure you're far enough right.
Yeah, they wanted, I mean, here's the thing, it becomes a stereotype, right? It becomes, here's what conservative means. And Ted, you must find this frustrating as well. I mean, this is what being liberal in America means. Well, it can be a much broader definition. For me, like I said, I have much more libertarian views. I chafe at religious nationalism because, imposing your religious faith on me, well, that's fine. Down here, they love that crap. I live in Alabama, but they're all, they're all Protestants, mostly Baptist.
I think Christian nationalism is an oxymoron. Christ very clearly taught, if you're a Christian, I think it's a real violation of Christianity, maybe not so much of nationalism. First of all, I would say it's a little difficult. The idea of Christian nationalism, I'm not going to even judge the ideology of it. From a practical standpoint, I don't see how it's going to ever work, because let's just say, most Americans are not hardcore Christians. I mean, there's, a majority of Americans self-identify as Christians, but, they're not hardcore evangelical. The vast majority of American Christians never even go to church, right? So, it's like they're culturally Christian. These are people who probably don't even have a cross in their house, right? Most Americans are not devout. They're not religious people. So I don't know how you get to Christian nationalism. And that's not even getting into the fact that we have a lot of non-Christians, right? Atheists and people who are belong to other faiths. But then there's the Christian aspect. You definitely can't be Christian and nationalist. Christ was very clear, right? Should I pay my taxes? Yes. Give unto Caesar what is Caesar's. Give unto the Lord what is the Lord's, right? Basically, he was very clear that what was happening here in the world of the living and the world of politics is ephemeral, temporary. It'll come and go. The regimes come and go, but the kingdom of heaven is forever. And a Christian is supposed to dedicate himself or herself to like that, attaining that goal and living the kind of life and doing the kind of things that God would expect, so that you can, hopefully gain entrance to the kingdom of heaven. I don't see how nationalism plays into any of that. I mean, Christ was very clear on this point. You follow me, you give up all your worldly goods, and you don't participate in this sort of, hey, King Herod is awesome bullshit. You don't.
No, in fact, here's the thing, that here and around the country, this movement to have the 10 Commandments everywhere just seems, and you and I both know the Bible well enough, both being good Catholic boys, you better than me. Were you an altar boy?
I was.
Okay, so.
And I was obsessed with the Bible, and I heard it many more times than I could count.
When Christ was asked about the 10 Commandments, he was said, well, there's 2 commandments. Right. Honor your God, and love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Right.
Neither of which we can do particularly well. You want to have I just had a really interesting conversation with a Baptist minister yesterday about this very topic. I said, you want to have 10 commandments. I think that's, it's not a great list, and it's not really the basis of our laws or our culture. I said, why don't we put up the Beatitudes? If you do that, I might be actually on board with that, where it says, welcome the stranger, clothe and feed the hungry and the homeless, love your neighbor. Stuff that Christian nationalists seem to think is a little too warm and fuzzy which means they would have been at the crucifixion going, yeah, he had it coming, man.
Totally. Look, I don't think Christian nationalists know anything about Christ or the Bible, really.
There's a new theology, and it's been fascinating to watch. I'm not sure if it's something that you follow, but the arc of Christianity, especially in the Trump era, has been, we can project. Does this sound familiar, Ted, coming from our Democratic friends? We can project onto Donald Trump that he's a good and godly man. Doesn't go to church, screws porn stars out while he's still married. Been married several times, has screwed over business partners.
Is it terrible? Is not a good father.
Oh, well, I don't know. His kids seem to like him.
Tiffany.
Well, okay, 1. Come on, 1 out of 5.
That still gets you down. That gets you down to a B- at 80%.
But my point is that Christianity is shifting, in the new movement now is to oppose empathy. That empathy is for wusses. It's for people who aren't Christian. Christ never talked about empathy, and you're going,
that's all he talked about.
Yeah, that's what the hell are you talking about?
He was obsessed with empathy. Yeah.
So the Christian nationals, being conservative, having my C card taken away time and time again.
Well,
and
Scott, I mean, in fairness, what's going on, or maybe by way of explanation, Scott, what's going on here is for the last, I would say, 20 years, although it wasn't really clear until the last 5 to 10 years, we're in the middle of a massive political realignment along the lines of what we saw that culminated with the 1932 election. Also, maybe that culminated with the 1860 election, right? And that culminated with the 1824 election. So this is another of those dramatic American political realignments. And during those periods, all the old definitions of what was left and what was right and what was, Whig and what was Republican, all those things changed. That's what's going on here. And so, of course, the definitions are all up in the air, right? I mean, what is if you had told me in the 1970s that the Democratic Party would have become the militantly militaristic, pro-Pentagon spending party that they've become, or that some attempt at peace in the Middle East would be brokered by a right-wing Republican like Donald Trump, I would have thought you were high. And yet here we are. So, I mean, I think that's what you're getting caught up in. You're allowed to still be a conservative and identify yourself as a conservative. And it never has there been a time where it would be more accurate to say that the Republican Party has left someone or left you, because parties are moving around a lot these days. They're leaving a lot of people behind.
Well, and before we get to our cartoons, I want to ask you real quick, because it's a topic that you discuss in our deeply, in fact, you've written a book about it, is the Democratic Party. Do you felt like they left you a long time ago? And people, you have to understand, Ted Rall was a delegate to the Democratic National Convention. So
I worked for a bunch of Democratic campaigns. I mean, I was fairly middling ranked in the Ted Kennedy in 1980 campaign, and as well as the Mondale campaign in '84. So, I worked for Dukakis too. That was my last hurrah.
Really?
Yeah, it was a shitty experience. It drove me out of. It really did drive me out. Not from the. I kept voting for Democrats for a little while after that, but I was like, I never want to be involved with these people again. They're such assholes.
Briefly, why? What can you tell us what happened, or is it?
Yeah, sure. I'll tell the story. I mean, so, I was working for I'm from Ohio, and even though I lived in New York at the time, in '88, I went back to Ohio to help out with the campaign. I was the youth coordinator for the state of Ohio, and under Dukakis, and we had a little bit of a budget, and but we were pretty poorly funded. The whole party, the campaign was run out of Boston because, of course, the governor was from there, and the campaign was like a study in Democratic pussification, and I don't just mean Michael driving around in his tank. I mean, it was just like he wouldn't fight back. I mean, this was the Willie Horton election. This was Lee Atwater. Brutal Republicans. They don't play. Way before Donald Trump, Republicans weren't playing nice then either. And a lot of Democrats, me included, were very frustrated. And I was 25 years old. It was like, let's fight back. So very famously at the time, probably long forgotten, the Republicans put out a very effective national campaign ad, mostly though for the Midwest, that had it was the mailman ad. And this guy basically he's a mailman, and he's walking around delivering good Republican news to the people on his route. It's like, the widow Johnson is getting a big raise on her Social Security check, like that, right? And so anyway, my big idea was to track down the actor who played that guy and have him. We had the ad film crew come out and film a new ad for Dukakis in Akron, in like on a really shitty, Rust Belt street where everything was falling apart, closed factories, boarded up homes. It looked like Roger and Me, right? It was like a disaster. And so the guy basically walked down the street and he's like, little Timmy off to war with another draft registration notice, might not come back. It's like, it's like, after 8 years of Reagan, it's like, too bad, like, he's not going to be able to go to college, what with all the student loans being gutted. Widow Johnson's going to get Social Security's getting privatized by Bush. Like, that's going to be pretty ugly, like that, right? The ad was, we only ran it in the state of Ohio. The ad was very effective. We had a 14-point bounce in 2 weeks.
Wow.
That's massive. And I was very proud of myself. And I was like thinking, they're going to notice. They might bring me to Boston. I might get promoted. Oh, I got noticed. So we got a call from Boston. And they were like, cut the shit, cut the ad. Like, the governor doesn't like that kind of campaigning. It's like, I'm like, you mean winning? And he's like, it's like, basically it was like, well, he thinks it's like we're going to win by being nicer and more civilized and more civil than the Republicans. We all know how that election went. So anyway.
Wow. Okay.
I was furious. And I was just like, these people are tards and I can't have anything to do with them. They don't want to win. They're not interested in winning. I will say Bill Clinton was a breath of fresh air in that respect. He was interested in winning. And you could tell, John, what's his name? Walter Mondale wasn't interested in winning. Jimmy Carter wasn't interested in winning in 1980.
What is that? I mean, I've seen some campaigns.
Al Gore wasn't interested in winning. John Kerry wasn't interested in winning.
Oh, I think Gore was. I think he finally just got browbeat. I think he saw where the winds were blowing, and I never understood how Gore didn't run again in 2004. I think he would have won.
He had no interest in winning. His campaign manager, what's her name? She's on ABC this week.
Not Dee Meyer.
From New Orleans, the lady, the black lady with the gray hair.
Yes. Oh gosh, I can see her.
Yeah.
Oh well, go on. We'll figure it out at 3 o'clock.
Anyway, the point is, I signed her for syndication when I was at United Media.
Donna Brazil.
Donna Brazil, thank you. And she personally told me this story. Okay, so and she said that on election night 2000, she was in the they always get a hotel suite to watch the results above in the hotel above the victory party in Washington. And around 9:00 at night, when there's all things started to go sideways with the various calls for Florida on election night 2000, I think it was November 7th. She walks in and she sees the vice president pick up the phone, and she asks someone, "Who's he calling?" And she was told, "Oh, he's calling to concede to Bush." And he already had Bush on the phone. 9:00 at night. 9:00. She went over, and we know that thing wasn't decided until the Supreme Court ruled on December 20th. Okay, so she walked over and put her thumb on the phone and hung up on Governor Bush, and it's like, and she said, "What the fuck are you doing?" And she said she told me she realized at that point he didn't care about winning. He didn't have any fire in his belly, and she had felt that throughout the campaign.
Yeah, I've been in campaigns and seen campaigns, both national and local, where the person didn't really seem to want to win. I mean, it's very Ted Kennedy, I thought, was that way.
Yeah.
Especially when you get tripped up. First question out of the gate is, why do you want to be president? You can't answer it. You better be able to answer those questions and why you want to do what you want to do.
It's interesting because he'd been prepared for probably, how do you feel about wage and price controls? But, not that, right? I mean, because it's so fundamental.
Well, there was a governor.
Great question. I mean, I don't think I've ever heard any other candidate be asked that question before or since.
Oh, I don't know. I think, especially when they go to like high schools and elementary schools, why do you want to be president? And
this was 60 Minutes, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, and this is the first interview after his announcement. There's a governor, Bruce Rauner in Illinois, ran the first time, and a billionaire, no experience. Yeah, we need a businessman, and he won.
That by the way, I think that ship has sailed forever.
For a while, but his 4 years were just a bomb. He was getting very bad advice from some not great people, and took it and was not a good governor. He announces he's running for re-election, but up to that point, apparently behind the scenes, we found out that he was asking everybody and their brother if they would run because he really didn't want to. This is an incumbent governor. I mean, it's kind of amazing, and you'll be shocked to learn he got his clock cleaned in the general election.
Yeah. Well, I think there's some people who they want it their way or not at all. That I get, but that's not
what this was. This was not as much fun as they told me it would be.
I mean, I'm sure running. There's I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I highly recommend it if you have HBO Max. There's you may have already seen it because you're such a dork like me, but there's an amazing documentary where it's JFK doing the primaries in 1960.
No.
And they're tagging along, and they're in the car, with the windshield wipers in farm country, and it's awesome. And it's just and you see them, then Jackie O comes out at the Shriners meeting or whatever in fucking Tuscaloosa. It's fucking fascinating, and it's worth seeing. I mean,
he was a very different. He's remembered for the lofty rhetoric, which and he should be because it was. But if you ever listen to the tapes, the White House tapes from him, first off, to hear him say "fuck" and shit, and he really had very. Oh well, he was a. Don't forget, he was a sailor.
True.
So he swore like one. But he's talking to Van Braun and the space guy, saying, "I don't give a fuck if we ever get to the moon. I just need to beat the Russians." It's like all of his rhetoric about space flight and
we will go to the moon.
Yes, not because it is easy, but because it is hard. He didn't believe any of that stuff. He was in the Oval Office meetings. It's fascinating. So if you, on the other side, what's the name of the documentary?
I'll look that up while we're.
It can't be hard. I mean, it can't be hard to find. But go to the Kennedy Library and they have the tapes, the audio. You can listen to it, and it's fascinating to hear this guy behind closed doors, very political, very conniving. Exactly what a good politician should be.
It's called Primary. It chronicles the Democratic primary between JFK and Humphrey, a landmark film in the direct cinema style of filmmaking.
Wait, and Humphrey, but I thought the main opposition was Johnson. Maybe that was in the South, and Humphrey was.
This is. I remember it was Humphrey.
Interesting. Imagine that would have been in West Virginia or someplace where Humphrey would sell those.
This is about the Wisconsin primary.
Oh, okay. Well, now that makes a lot more sense.
It's rural. It's very rural.
So it's Wisconsin. A lot of cows.
Especially back in 1960, right? So, but we're going to have some technical challenges here, but I think we should talk about the main story of the day. Obviously, there's a strong possibility that the war in Gaza is over. I would say it's not a 100% possibility because obviously, it's a ceasefire. The Israelis in particular are notorious for violating the terms of their signed agreements. So
wait, no, you can't. I'm not going to let that one slide. No, they're not, Ted. Come on, Hamas, the PLO, Arafat. I'm sorry, no, the record just doesn't support what you just said. But
This,
please,
I mean, look at the most recent conflict. The Netanyahu, by all accounts, including mainstream sources, violated every ceasefire that's been agreed to so far.
But that's not Israel's. That's not a traditional Israel thing.
It kind of
really
is.
want to say that historically this is
kind
not
of
the
is.
case.
They always agreed. I mean, okay, let's
Move on.
Let's move on. The point is that these, it's a fragile ceasefire. It could easily fall apart. The details these are two sides that absolutely do not trust each other, to say the least, and things could go sideways. I mean, even the mediators in all this, Qatar, have been, militarily attacked in all this. So there's a lot of bad blood everywhere here, and so that could fall apart. But I mean, there's a lot to talk about here. We can do this in the context of showing our cartoons and the cartoons of our colleagues. But basically, the good news is both sides are going to get their hostages back, probably today. There's 20 surviving hostages. Hamas has confirmed that.
Hey, Ted, today. I just want to interrupt real quick and just say, do you think it'll be today? Because Trump doesn't show up until tomorrow, and he said he wanted to be there for the release. Could you imagine being a hostage and you're like, we are releasing you today. Oh, wait, there's a photo up. You must wait one more day.
Oh, well, that would be like the end of World War I, right? Which they wanted to have end on 11/11 at 11 o'clock in the morning because it was cute because of all the numerological 11 geekdom. But the war had already been kind of settled by November 9th. So they kept fighting for 2 days and people died.
It's just
whatsoever. It's like the Battle of New Orleans, right? It's like that.
You have not seen your family for 2 years. What's another day?
I'm pretty sure that when the U.S. hostages were released from Tehran, whenever there are these hostage releases, they're not just allowed to go, right? It's kind of like, okay, wait, we have to debrief you. Oh, this guy wants to meet you. This photo op with this person, and then it's like maybe in a day or two you get to finally see your family. There's a lot of nonsense related to being a released hostage, I think, but not as much.
I'm sorry. Go on.
As being a hostage. So anyway, fortunately, the Israel will get back its 20 hostages plus the corpses of those, I guess 38 or so corpses that Hamas still has. Also, the Israelis are going to be releasing 250 life inmates and 1,700 hostages that they took from Gaza. But there's still several thousand more, but that they're not part of this agreement. But still, it's good to see all people going home, belying the Israeli claims that they have not been blocking aid. Now there's a ceasefire agreement, and now the aid is rolling in massive amounts. So that's also good news. So famine should start to be eased pretty soon, and with food and water coming in finally in decent amounts. There's the question of who will rule Gaza. Scott, that answer is Hamas will rule Gaza. They just won't be called Hamas anymore. I mean,
that's what I wanted to ask you. That's the question number one I had for you. If I might stop you again, I'm sorry, but listen, reading and Hamas being all of a sudden being saying, yeah, Hamas will no longer exist. So it's going to be
Hamas will probably no longer exist.
And I'm reminded of your analysis of Afghanistan, which turned out to be very accurate. You traveled there several times, and that is the Taliban can say, "Well, we've gotten rid of the Taliban." No, you haven't. They're still there. You know why they're still there? Because they live there.
Literally, I saw this. When thousands of members of the Taliban would surrender to the Northern Alliance, who were supported by the United States in the fall of 2001, they'd literally cross the lines with their hands up, throw their weapons into the back of a pickup truck, and literally there was a barber on the side of the road to shave off all of their Taliban beards, and they would ditch their black turbans and switch to the pakul, which is the sort of cute sideways hat that the Northern Alliance Afghans were partial to. And now, of course, the reverse process happened in 2021 when the Taliban won, then like the you can't go that quickly. You got to grow that beard, but the turbans be going back on. The pakuls are in the trash. It's like so. I mean, because the thing is, who else is there, right? I mean, the Hamas has been. They had an armed conflict with Fatah, which is the Palestinian Authority in the West Bank. They defeated Fatah back 20 years ago, right, in 2005. They've been kicked out. So Hamas has been the only game in town. There's been no political. It's not a democracy. They don't have any political opposition in Gaza. If you are in the job of governance, whether it's like running the sewage system, or a principal of a school, or the post office, or the passport office, anything, you work for Hamas. So this is kind of like in Iraq after Saddam, and they tried to do de-Baathification. You can't, because these are just, I mean, you can say, you can't kick the people out. You can certainly say there no longer is a Ba'ath Party, but the guys who worked for the Ba'ath Party, they are the only people who can run Iraq. And that's similarly, Hamas is going to be running Gaza, and they know that. And this will be kind of like the way the IRA kind of disbanded and demilitarized and became just the political wing of Sinn Féin in Ireland after the Troubles, right? Like after everything was negotiated and peace arrived in Northern Ireland. It's that kind of solution.
Okay, so you view that the same way I do. It's not, Hamas is gone. Here's Namas.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're already wearing, some of them already have different uniforms with different tags, with a new name. So, like provisional authority or whatever. So there's, Hamas is doing that. So, I mean, it's hilarious and gay and dumb for anybody to say anything different. There is the question of what will happen to Israel's reputation in all of this. So the New York Times lead story today is talking about the question of whether Israel's reputation in the West will ever be able to recover, right? In current polls, we see that over 50% of American Jews nationally are now opposed to Israel and more sympathetic to the Palestinians than the Israelis. That's crazy. I thought I would never see something like that, no matter what. And then there's, some Israelis are worried that their reputation in the West is kind of stained forever. It's just going to have an odor on it. Others say, no, there'll be a bounce back. When just because it's over, the war is over, passions will cool, people will chill, and there will be some normalcy, and Israel can start to regain its support. Although I think it would have to do some affirmative things, and I'm not sure what those things would even be, to try to regain some support in the West, which they need. But anyway, I think these are like a lot of huge. You and I, obviously, Scott, disagreed throughout the war. Although you kind of came around to my feeling that the Israelis had gone too far in terms of, bombing and killing the Palestinians.
Yeah, and I still hold to that. But I think the latter scenario is probably more likely, Ted. I think the bounce back, I mean, especially when there's money involved in their economy, while not, the biggest in the world, it's robust. They have a very highly, extensively developed tech industry there.
That's true.
Go with tech. But the thing about a bounce back, you did touch on another aspect of it, and that's the stench and the stank that'll adhere to this in the current coalition there. And my sense is that, we've all been in relationships. Everybody has been in a relationship where some shit went down, right? And then you make a decision whether or not to forgive. The friendship, a friend does something terrible, does something wrong, does something, whatever. You can become friends again, and that's not uncommon, but the friendship is never the same. The friendship, the relationship is never the same. And I think that's what's going to happen here. Israel, for 70 years of its existence now, 70 plus years, has enjoyed a reputation for being, the sole democracy in the region. In short, being the good guys. They're always being attacked. Their neighbors are always trying to invade them, and this bastion of democracy in a sea of not was considered to be pretty noble, even. And I think
that was the claim anyway. I mean, not everyone saw it that way, right?
Well, okay, I'd say a majority of people saw it that way, and now that there's a stain on that. I don't know that you can remove it, with the exception of getting rid of Netanyahu.
Getting rid of Netanyahu is, if I'm Israeli, getting rid of Netanyahu is job one.
Well, he's not. He is the polls in Israel. He's not popular.
No.
This is one of the drawbacks of parliamentary elections, that you cannot be popular and still cobble together a coalition and stay in power. I mean, look at Macron. I mean, he doesn't even have a majority anywhere. He's still in power.
Can you believe he lost his prime minister number 4. You may not even have noticed, Scott. Macron just reappointed him.
The same guy?
Yeah.
Did you hear interviews with the guy when he quit the first time? He's like, "This is bullshit, man. No, thank you." I did not hear that he'd gotten reappointed.
Yeah, they reappointed him.
Did this last longer than 20 hours like it did the first time?
If at 4th you don't succeed,
oh my God.
Again.
Why would you not go to the socialists? Or, I mean, first of all, the socialists have, you could.
Because he's a corporatist, and corporatists hate like their own progressive wing more than they hate the right. Okay,
that's like he's like the Clintons of
exactly. Bill Clinton hates Bernie Sanders more than he hates Donald Trump. It's like that.
Well, he traveled so often with him on the plane. He got to know.
Well, that's true. Yeah. With Jeffrey.
Our friend Jeffrey.
All holding hands. It's like, it's kind of amazing. It's a beautiful thing. So, yeah, I mean, anyway, so, yeah, Netanyahu's got to go. I'm sure he will within, less than 6 months. I'm sure he'll be gone. I guess the thing is, now, the only reporters that have been in Gaza have been stringers for,
Is that right?
Palestinian stringers. Yeah, there's been no, like, all the Al Jazeera has done yeoman's work there in Gaza, but these are stringers. These are local people, because the Israelis didn't allow any outside reporters in at all. Right? Everyone who applied for the a visa or a press pass, the Israelis were like, no. So now, for the very first time in 2 years, you're going to have Western and other reporters going into the Strip. They're going to be interviewing people. They're going to be poking around. They're going to, and all sorts of stuff is going to come to light that never did before. And I'm sure some of it will be unflattering to Hamas, but I'm sure some of it will also be deeply unflattering to Israel.
Yes, I suspect you're right.
And I think, for example, we know there are going to be mass graves. For example, there was the ambulance convoy, right, where they were stopped by the IDF, and the guy had his phone one of the victims had his cell phone running in his pocket while he was massacred, and they buried them alive, right? That's an incident that we found out about because his phone was recovered, and the video is available now on the internet. But there's going to be stuff like that. I mean, if it happened once, it happened more than once. And so it's going to be, and it's war. I mean, war is brutal, and there's going to be war crimes and atrocities are going to come to light. I think Israel's reputation is going to get worse before it can get better. And that, I mean, it's already in a hole internationally. I guess the question is, I think Israel has to do something bigger than just hope for the passage of time. Do you see what I mean?
I don't know. I mean, you're talking about a culture and a place that's, thousands of years old. They can just sort of wait this out. What they can't wait out is the financial support of the United States, which under this administration, it's not going to be diminished. But over time, as the stories come out, we're going to find out. I don't know, you don't know, but you and I both know war well enough to know that what will come to light will be pretty egregious. So the next administration, that's where this could. And you said Netanyahu's not leaving in 6 months. Will be gone in 6 months. He won't go. I mean, you're going to have to drag.
No, he doesn't want to go. He has good reason not to.
How does he leave? The left and the center left and the center party.
He has to go into exile, or he has to.
But how? Under what pretext or what context? Because
I'm going on vacation to Riyadh. Bye.
They'd have a lovely life.
If Idi Amin lived there into his entire life.
Well, he was the last king of Scotland, so let's be clear on that.
That's true.
God, that guy was bananas.
And he had unique appetites.
What's that?
He had unique appetites.
He did like he got the taste of human flesh.
They say man is the tastiest game.
God.
The scrumchiest game.
Do we have some cartoons to show, by the way?
Yeah, let's do that. So we're going to show. All right. So please bear. Oh my God. Why did this okay, I have to do this. I can't believe I have to do this again. This is really annoying. Okay. So I had everything preloaded. And so these are going to come up pretty much like in no particular order, Scott. So,
okay, but let's preface this by saying I sent you some cartoons, one of which is one of the very first cartoons I ever drew on staff at a newspaper, 1981. Just to show that things, the more things change. We've got the spinning wheel of death. And just to finish my thought about Netanyahu, Netanyahu does not want to go to jail. He's under criminal indictment in his own country. Obviously, the World Court has him. Wants to have a few words with him as well. He's staying in power to cover his ass. It's the reason Trump ran in 24. If they hadn't unleashed lawfare against this guy, here's the hostage release. This begs a question even today. If you have corpses, Ted, are they still hostages?
No, you're not. If you're a cartoonist and you die, you're not still a cartoonist who happens to be dead. You are a former cartoonist. You're an ex-cartoonist. If you are a cat who dies, you are a former cat. You are a dead cat. You are not so yes, you are a former hostage. And I don't mean to make light of all this, but
no, it's horrible. If that was my family member, my Lord.
I don't understand. This is very strange. The whole 58 hostages, including 20 live ones. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, that's no longer a hostage, but that's what. So that point came to mind, and I drew this.
Okay. Let me.
How about you?
Let me see what else we got here. All right, let me do one of mine. So we've all seen those posters of the missing posters of the hostages. They're all over New York City. So I thought this would be appropriate, basically, just given what everyone's going to find amid all the rubble. And that, really Israel did lose its humanity in all this. I mean, it's not just government policy. I think historians will take note of the fact that even left-wing liberal Israelis never protested the war itself. They protested to get their hostages back. They protested Netanyahu's policy, but they really didn't care about the Palestinians. And I thought that was pretty reprehensible. Let's find let's see some more.
Go back in the Wayback Machine. You can get the Menachem Begin. Remember him?
Oh, I tried to pull up Begin here. All right, let me see what I got here.
We're cartoonists, damn it. We don't really know this technology bullshit.
No, I know. Oh, this might be one of the ones that you sent me in the wrong format.
Well, I sent them. I resent them in JPEG.
I know. But hold on. It's if you saw how incredibly awkward this system is. There we go.
Okay, this is one that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. This is Sister Jean was with Loyola University. She passed away at 106, too young. But she was kind of legendary for her support of and fandom of the Loyola basketball team. When they went to the Final Four a few years back, she was there and kind of became sort of their unofficial mascot. And her stock and trade was wearing the school color
Scarf.
Thank you.
That's the word you're looking for.
Be older, Scott. So I'm just have her putting it on Michelangelo's God.
Cool. Here's another one of yours if I can get it to go.
Okay, this is a very local one. They just closed the Walgreens, which had promised to help reinvigorate the old post office, which you can imagine, Ted. This thing, I'm not sure if you remember it when you were in Chicago. You drive under it. The freeway, this is how big this friggin' structure is. The freeway goes under it. An 8-lane freeway goes under the post office building. This thing is massive and has been deserted for years. And they talked about redevelopment, and Walgreens moved part of its corporate headquarters there. And recently just said, you know what? Nah. And they left. So no refills. You can see the bottom.
I've got to ask you, Scott, just as a craft issue, how did you do the curved type on the take for?
I actually, okay, this is inside information. I'll tell you the cheat. I used the Walgreens. I just kept the and redrew it.
You drew that. I can tell that. Yeah.
Both of them, all the type except for the type in the middle where it says "take" for old post office. That I left that alone. But the red type I redrew in my own, so it looked hand drawn. Because then you just take it into Procreate, which is the program I use on my iPad when I create my art. And you can, I don't know that it worked because if you look at the box around, okay, this is way in the weeds here, Ted, but you can see the box around the type does not conform to the same distortion that where it says no refills.
Yeah.
And that was a big mistake. I should have corrected that and didn't. And I feel like I'm looking at it now thinking that's kind of sloppy work, but the bottle looks good.
The bottle looks fantastic. No, for sure. I'm like gay for your bottle for sure.
Thanks, Ted.
All right, here we go. You're just another Smirkonish cartoon.
This is Smirkonish. Yeah, I do that for him. It says this is the one that got the note. Actually, that can you tell me about if there's a conservative cartoonist out there? Donald Trump in the Situation Room and his general saying the thinking now is that this boat may have been bringing you Nobel Peace Prize.
I love this one.
Which I thought it's a very subversive the more you look at it. And I just have a serious problem with the United States government. This comes back to being conservative. What's the ultimate interference in your life, Ted? It's killing you. So the government
that's definitely big government at work.
Yes, and then just arbitrarily saying, yeah, we think you did this, we're sending a missile. It's absurd. It's also, I would have to argue, illegal. By the way, is it true that one of the was it Qatar or one of the Emirati countries are opening an air base in Idaho? Did you hear this?
So yeah, it's apparently so, and it's interesting because a lot of right wingers are very angry about this. Like people
I'm also happen to be an American who knows about James Monroe. He kind of issued a doctrine.
Well, you didn't even need to, James Monroe was literally like, don't come anywhere into the Americas, North, Central, or South. This is like, come right into the heartland of the contiguous United States of America. It's not, it would be, look, let's put this into perspective. If this were, this base were on Guam, your favorite part of the U.S., it would still be kind of insane because it's the U.S., but it's like, sort of like, it's not a state. Idaho. It's smack.
Is Idaho really a state? Is it?
I don't understand. I guess it's turnabout is fair play. We have bases everywhere else.
Well, I have to believe that's the argument within the administration was, well, we have bases in Turkey and Qatar and, and apparently in Central Africa and everywhere else. What the hell? Why not let them have one?
I think this is there. No one's talking about this, but I think this is a fallout from the from Israel's attack on Qatar. When Israel attacked Qatar, that literally pissed off Trump to the point where he forced them to accept the peace deal. Right? That was a bridge too far for Trump. Don't make Donald Trump look weak, and that's what happened. And I think the Qataris were like, yeah, we want an apology. Yeah, we want to guarantee that like you'll defend us, which you didn't do last time against the Israelis. And by the way, we'd like this base. I think that's what this was about.
Why does Qatar want a base in Idaho?
It's a good fucking question.
There's no vital interest of any kind unless they're really scared of the Canadians.
Not only is Qatar not an invading, like militarily expansionist country, it doesn't have the ability to be one. It's too small. I mean, it would be. This wouldn't even be the mouse that roared. This would be like the aphid that roared. I mean, what the fuck is this?
So the only thing I can think, Ted, is that this is for surveillance of Americans, for Arab Americans who live in this country, dissidents.
I hate that. You're probably right.
I mean, I can't think of any tactical purpose other than that. There's no other reason. And they shouldn't have it.
No, they shouldn't have it.
It should not be a foreign country within a military base in the United States.
It's fucked up. All right, let's try this one. Okay, so an old that you suggested we show some of our older Gaza cartoons. Let me get the bug out of the way. So I thought that I wanted to see if I could do a cartoon making fun of famine. Always like a challenge. But I thought the before and after thing would be funny. And I also wanted to like get in a slap at basically the comparisons between the famine that occurred, that Jews were victimized by the Nazis during World War II, and here they are doing the same thing to the Gazans.
I just love this. I lost 100% of my weight. Thanks, Dr. Vivi.
Yeah, I mean, this is it's a little edgy.
A little? You're making fun of genocide. Yeah, I'd say yeah.
Well, if you can't make fun of genocide, what can you make fun of?
Well, too true, Ted. Too true.
All right. This was when Kamala Harris took over the Democratic campaign from Joe Biden.
Oh, I didn't even notice what he was doing to her court. Oh my God, that's great.
It's better under Kamala. I mean, and people still, when they're analyzing Kamala's loss, they tend to forget the effect of Gaza. I mean, really, truly, I think she would be president of the United States now if she had come out against Israel.
Behind closed doors, she was, Ted. Behind closed
doors, she was awesome. All right, let's see what else we got here. This one I think is very applicable. This was from May of last year. Gaza is ours. But, basically, I mean, it's like they've for sure, the Israelis have won a Pyrrhic victory here. If you want to know what a Pyrrhic victory looks like, the one in Gaza, it's like they killed a shit ton of Hamas. They killed a shit ton of Palestinian civilians. They leveled most of the territory. But in the end, they lost the war because they rely so heavily on international support, and especially from the U.S.
I like I always like your asides, your little Israel. We're the pariahist.
This is literally my favorite cartoon of my own about the Gaza conflict.
January.
Yeah, this was January 24, and basically it's like you could already tell that there were going to be that the death count was really lopsided from the 1,200 or so killed on October 7th. Not all of them by Hamas, of course, several hundred killed by Israel also, but like still 1,200 people compared to, tens of thousands. And so I just thought it was like, and I kept, I don't really, as I'm not, the graphic side is not my forte. So this to me is a sight thing. And I thought it really worked.
Really is. Did you hand draw all of those posters?
No. I drew like maybe 9, and then I cut and pasted them and put them over each other.
Oh, okay. Because it looks, the effect is fantastic. Here's the thing. As editorial cartoonists, we look at a cartoon in 2 ways. One, do we agree with the point it's trying to make?
Yep.
But the second one is, and probably more important in our little cartoonist brains, is it a good cartoon? And this is a very good cartoon. Oh, I didn't even notice the poster covered part of your signature.
Yeah, do you like that?
Oh, that's funny. That's good. This is an excellent cartoon. This is just it does what a cartoon is supposed to do. It does it in a way that only cartoons can do it. I could even see this animated. You have like a blank wall with the
as they go up. Yeah, and of course you'd want like the Hamas ones to go up at also at the same time, but not as quickly. Especially at the beginning. Just pace out. As an animation, it would be awesome for sure.
Yeah, great cartoon set. I don't. How did I not see this one?
I know I sent it to you.
Oh, I'm sure you did. I just don't know why.
We all do a lot of shit.
Yeah, we really do.
Oh, this one is from what's his name? Martin Ronson from the Guardian. So this was just last week about the peace deal. That shows like, the Brits are more artsy, right? Basically the dove of peace, like fly, my pretty fly. And with all these like scummy, like gross people like Trump, there's Netanyahu down at the bottom, and there's Al-Sisi on the lower left, and so
where's Trump? Am I stupid? Do I not see him?
I think he's on the right there.
I'm trying to see a face or the hair. Oh, there. Oh, now I see it. Okay, took a second.
It's the
wow.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I know. I don't think it's a great cartoon. I think it's interesting.
Ooh,
mix.
I think it's a good cartoon. No, I think it's very good.
Here's our colleague Kevin Gallagher from The Economist.
Yep. Yeah, no, I think how long have we, in my lifetime, it's this issue will never, ever stop.
It does seem that way.
I wonder if when the Romans went in, for instance, did they just go, what the fuck can we just can we just give this to somebody?
Yeah, well, remember it was a vassal state. They didn't own it, right? So
right, Herod was.
This is Bramhall from the New York Daily News. I will just say it. I hate this cartoon so much.
Oh, tell me why.
Well, because what could possibly be more facile or cheap in an American newspaper than basically saying Hamas is evil? Like, it's like a given, you know what I mean? It's sort of like Al-Qaeda is evil. It's like, it does something that I think no cartoon should do, which is that it basically flogs conventional wisdom. I don't care if a cartoon is from the far right or from the left or in between, but nothing should ever be, we should never be defending like mainstream conventional government opinion.
Okay, I'm not going to agree, but that's what makes a horse race. It's interesting that you hate this one so much because it seems, as you mentioned, it's sort of like, oh, yeah, okay, he's saying what you say.
Yeah, what one says, yes, exactly. Let's see.
Oh, this just goes to show you. This is from USA Today. Oh, no, it's from the Birmingham News from 2004. So this is 20 years ago. And the torch has been passed. And they kept killing the person who was, named the head of Hamas, the Israelis. So I just like the dialogue coming off the panel. It says, I don't want it. You take it. No, you take it. No, please, after you. The glories of martyrdom are yours. I would not want to deprive you of your virgins, nor I you.
So this is a Stantisian cadence that you don't really do anymore, but I kind of miss, I will say.
What's that?
Just sort of like, I would not want to deprive you of your virgins. I mean, I can hear that voice when I used to read your cartoons 20, 25, 30 years ago, and they had this kind of tone. And, it's like, it just sort of, it's very droll.
Yeah, well, I think it's very, in some ways, it's very Ted Rawlian too. I mean, you do the same thing. The conversations that sort of cascade up. Well, here's the difference, Ted. This was from what, 2004, and back then, the newspaper. And for you kids out there, newspapers are ink on paper. But the newspaper deadline was I would have until 10 p.m. So I could come up with I had until 5 to come up with my idea. Usually I got it earlier, but if I was struggling or whatever, I had to give a speech that day, whatever. But my cartoon idea had to be, confirmed by my editors, and then I would go and draw it.
Sure.
So that's why I could actually play with and massage the language you see on the right. And even if you look at the torch, the drawing on the torch is much more intricate and detailed than I do today.
Yeah, I think that's true. Although I think your art's better now, maybe. But
I think so. Oh,
I should hope so. Wait, we already did this one. Let's see. Sorry, I won't even burden anyone with how I have to do this. Okay.
Okay.
Come on. What do you mean? This beautiful one. I'm having such a hard time getting.
Yeah, it's hard to. And again, this is.
There it is.
That was from USA Today. From I think it was 2004, 2006.
That's cool. That's a fucking awesome.
Yeah, I wanted to make him look skeletal. It says about the bombing in Tel Aviv, we wish to express great sadness that we didn't do it, which I thought was because they really rushed out to say it wasn't us. There's another bombing. God knows there've been so many before and since. But the drawing of his face as this sort of talking skeleton head, I thought was, and I'm not sure. I made him bulky, I think, to fit the panel. But
awesome, though. It's great.
Again, I think it really works. Yeah, it's very striking, very powerful. Kind of proud of that one. And again, had time to draw it. And here's a more recent one from 2010. Can you believe that? Oh, okay, Ted. This I sent to you because I wanted to show that I screw up.
Yes, and it went out. This went out. It was printed, right?
It was printed all over, and I'm pretty sure I couldn't find the correction. Now, for those of you who are listening, I'll read this to you. It says one of them says, "Can you believe they actually on one of us?"
What do you think the missing word was?
I'm trying, Ted. It was 15 years ago. I'm trying to remember what the hell the goddamn word was, and I can't.
That's fucking.
I have the way I always drew the UN.
I love seeing cartoonist bloopers because I always think I'm the retard and I'm the one who forgets words and stuff. Like Gary Larson and that giant book that they made of him, like his stuff about 20 years ago. Yeah. There's parts where he's like, yeah, I know that part's just missing. I just joked.
Yeah, well, and it happens, I mean, and so can you believe they actually dropped a bomb on one of us or killed? I think maybe killed one of us.
It's possible. It's possible that maybe you have this version on your file, and then they called you and said, "Oh, there's a missing word. Do you mind if we fix it in Photoshop?" And then they did, right?
Well, this is for the trip, so somebody somewhere along the line got it. This never happened there. And if you notice, it's not fully colorized. The characters aren't colorized. So yeah, I think what happened is I had this, and somebody noticed. You're right. So the file exists somewhere where, if you out there happen to have this, please let me know. And let me know what the damn word was.
Scott's missing a cartoon.
Okay, so this was during the recent troubles. This is burn Tel Aviv to the ground, from the desert to the sea, death to Israel. And there's a guy saying, never forget October 7th, and person, one of the protesters says, I think you mean always forget October 7th.
I'm going to say, I think this is a fuck up on your part. I think you should have had the October 7th protester on the left and the crowd to the right.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, that would have read a lot better.
Yeah.
I have a problem
also,
with left and right.
As a Columbia graduate, you should have had the school colors. It's a light blue and white.
Yeah, I wanted them to be dark.
But
I wanted to have dark is more foreboding, has the weight.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was kind of clever of me to have one of the little tents in the foreground.
I like the smoke.
Yeah, or where they're standing on and burning it.
Well, I just like the way it was executed, and like the fact that the burning Israeli flag is subtle. Although I'm having a trouble, like with the never forget person, might be the ugliest protester to have ever lived. Which is saying a lot. Protesters are not good-looking people.
You always often comment on when I draw generic people. Like, why are they so ugly? It's like,
yeah,
because I am. I don't know. I mean, you draw what you know. But
oh yeah, I already did this one. Let's see.
I'd love to see some throwback stuff because your stuff.
Well, I already showed some of those.
Wow.
Let me see.
But you've had to have been drawing about that stuff in the 80s.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Well, let me see if I can pull up something. So this was. I'm very happy with this one because right now the way that Trump and the Republicans are asking about acting about like ICE, like they're being doxxed, they're so brave, and it's like they're out. It's really crazy. It's like ICE is out there brutalizing people, whether you agree with the policy or not. They're vicious thugs. Okay, maybe they're vicious.
The one line of this cartoon that really confused me was "I'll give you sex."
Because basically I was trying to get past the censors here. I wanted to be like have him like blowing the ICE guy, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, you probably wouldn't have run in a family newspaper.
No.
Oh God, family newspapers. They still have that. It's crazy.
But I like the bursitis line.
Oh, that's funny.
And
you have gotten criticism for your work for decades. At least I've heard it. I'm sure you've heard it too. Is that it's so brutal and so bloody? You tend to you rendered people being shot, being bludgeoned, being stabbed. I mean, and not in a cute, subtle, cartoony way.
Yep. Yeah. Why do you think that bothers people?
It's blood. I mean, I'm looking at the figure on the ground there. It's parts. I mean, he's obviously chopped off the guy's arm, and there's a bone sticking out. Now, in my cartoon world, I would just have a flat line to show an arm missing. But Ted goes there.
I do. It's one of my finest qualities.
I've never seen. I didn't even notice the spikes on the shoulder. I love you. I sent Ted a picture. We were just for our normal regular conversations of an ICE agent from what they were doing in Chicago, and I sent it to Ted saying he's not wearing a stitch of government issue stuff at all. He was literally wearing a free giveaway, obviously at goon night at the Texas Rangers game. Wearing a Texas Rangers T-shirt, camouflage. He was wearing obviously, and all this stuff. He clearly went to, some Duck Dynasty place to buy his outfit. That's the danger of these guys. And I finally saw an ad. Ted, have you seen these where they're advertising, the student loan forgiveness and $10,000 bonus to sign up? I'm not kidding. It's kind of amazing.
Well, the SS offered bonuses too,
Yeah, but at least they got issued uniforms, right? They didn't have to buy their own brown shirts, did they?
No, I'm sure they were. Actually, they may have had. You know that?
But these guys, the ICE agents, I mean, first of all, excuse me for being conservative and having a bit of a problem with warrantless search and seizure
by anonymous people.
Yes, by masked anonymous people who don't have to show credentials or their faces.
And this one I think is, so basically, this is like how, I don't think this one worked. I kind of like wanted to show that basically just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not out to get you. So it used to be like the government's out to get me, man. And it's like basically, with Trump, going after all sorts of prosecutors like James Comey and Letitia James and people like that there would be common ground. I think this cartoon fails.
It's not your strongest, but it's not. I think it's interesting. Why would they be at a bar? I think that's fascinating.
I was trying to think of a way. Where else do people from different classes mingle, right? So let me see.
No, I mean, you and I talk about this issue a lot, about what is going to happen and where will all this end, because the president has said he wants to arrest his enemies.
So this one's from 2021. So Ben & Jerry's, which is a progressive company, they decided to basically not have anything, to boycott Israel and all that. So I thought it would be kind of funny to make fun of the different.
I'm sorry, I'm just reading it now.
Mm-hmm.
Starvation level caloric content. Tiny slices, chock full of settlers. This land is their land. Apartheid apple. That's funny. Funny. Wow. Security won't. Impossible to get in. Yeah, I love stuff where you can kind of luxuriate.
This is also from early on in the war. This is just from a month after October 7th. And it's like the idea that people who were just calling for ceasefire were extremists. I thought it was bizarre.
Is the rendering of the woman in red anybody we should know, or just
no, just like basically your random Zionist? And then finally, for our show and tell today,
2014, 11 years ago. God. See, Ted, this is why you're Ted. For those of you, again, listening, the cartoon is titled Israel-Hamas Talk Turns, and Hamas is asking, Israel is saying, we demand that Hamas be disarmed. And Hamas is saying, Israel has killed 500 times more of us than we've killed of them. Shouldn't they disarm? And Israel says, that'd ruin our kill ratio. What kind of reaction did you get from this one, Ted?
Oh, I can't even remember. Probably the usual anger. It's interesting, though. The sort of the shit that you get from like supporters of Israel is it goes through like it's like a inverted bell curve. In the middle of the war, it kind of like dissipated a lot. At the beginning of the war, I got yelled at a lot. Then it kind of went away as like public opinion was shifting against Israel. And now I think supporters of Israel are feeling pretty desperate, and they're angrier than ever. And it's back at a fever pitch again.
Interesting. Yeah, the reason we do what we do is to get a reaction, but it so often is irrational or just dumb. How many times have I attacked Trump? So you never attack Democrats. I'm like, oh my God, spent an entire career doing that. I'm
told that too. I'm literally like, when I was going after Biden and Harris, why didn't you ever go after the Republicans? Like, do you even know who I am at all? Like,
yeah, why were you George W. Bush's bitch, Ted? What the hell is that all about?
No, And it's like stuff like that. It's kind of like it's so outlandish. Like here, no, I'm not going to explain what I'm talking about. Like if you don't know, I can't even.
And if you know Ted's work during the George W. administration, it was the most vicious caricature of a president, I think, since Southerners were caricaturing Abraham Lincoln as an ape.
It was. I really did hate him, and it showed.
No, I think good cartoons come from hatred, pure hatred. There are some politicians I genuinely hated. Like I didn't hate Obama. I never could. It's just because it's like hating a kitten. They're pretty harmless. They don't do much. That's sort of like Obama.
I thought, I didn't hate Obama either.
But I grew to really hate W near the end because of the stupid war and the assault on civil liberties.
Also, and it went with the personality, like the swagger, the obnoxious swagger that went with it. Really, it just brings it over for me. Like, I can hate your policies, but not hate you personally. But if you're a dick personally on top of it, oh man,
yeah,
yeah.
Well, we've run way over, so we should probably.
We should. So, thank you everyone for watching the DMZ America podcast with Ted Rall and Scott Stantis. We are going to be trying by the end of the month to get onto a regular schedule. For the Rumblers, we're sorry we did not broadcast live today due to technical problems. The Rumble studio system was down. So you're watching this on Rumble. You're going to be watching it recorded. I'm going to try to upload it and hope that works. But we do love you guys, and we're going to try to be live again next time. Okay. Thanks, everyone. Always a pleasure, Scott. And Scott, I think you know what's coming here. We are now about to enter the vocal treat that is the Scott Stantis sound.
Nagila hava, Nagila hava, Nagila hava, Nagila hava, Nagila hava, Nagila hava. Shalom, everybody.